I bet you just by doing that one thing, you already see a dramatic increase in energy, an improvement in the way that you feel, and you see it reflected in your body composition as well. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to IFBB AMA. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Evan Centopani. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully by now you've enjoyed a whole bunch of videos. We've got a tremendous lineup of talented guys here, filled with knowledge, extremely entertaining. So I hope you guys are really enjoying this feature. Today I want to talk about a concept. I don't know how many of you guys know Tanner Shuck. He's a buddy of mine. He's actually a CrossFit athlete. He was here over the summer. We made some content together. It just kind of came out in one of our sessions. He was asking me some questions and he said, hey, what's a really good piece of nutritional advice you would give to a younger bodybuilder? I thought about it for a second. Honestly, this one piece of advice I would give to anyone from a bodybuilder to just a regular person who doesn't even lift weights, right? You don't even step foot in the gym. This, I think, is such a valuable concept. Before I get into it, let me preface it by saying, hey, listen, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Whatever works for an individual is great. My way of doing things may not be for you, and vice versa. This is something that I've employed with a lot of the clients that I coach. I've been very successful with it, is oftentimes people will approach me. Could be a guy I work with, right, in the office, and you'd say, Ev, trying to get rid of this. You guys know, I mean, that's such a loaded question. We could go on and on, we could delve deeper and deeper into that question, but what am I gonna tell somebody, okay, in a couple minutes that's gonna be even remotely impactful? Everyone from the most, untrained person to someone who's extremely advanced can benefit from what I'm about to tell you. That is to eat single ingredient foods. Wah, wah, wah. All right, listen, what does that mean? I have two things in front of me. I've got a loaf of bread and I've got a potato. For the person who is trying to get in shape, okay, gain control of their situation, lose a few pounds, get healthier, feel better, develop a healthier relationship with food even. We're gonna go into that. Eating single ingredient foods, okay, can be an extremely simple way to look at it. This is a potato. There's vitamins, minerals in it, but predominantly it is a carbohydrate source. There's a loaf of bread. Also predominantly a carbohydrate source. You can't see that from there, but if I had to guess, it's probably like almost 25, 30 ingredients in here. This is delicious. I could consume far more carbohydrates and far more total calories from this much more easily than I could from this. A lot of times, if it were presented to someone in the form of just a plain baked potato, guess what? The tendency to overconsume this is much less than the tendency to overconsume this. Why? This just doesn't taste that good. If we start putting sour cream on it, bacon bits and cheese and all sorts of crap, yeah, great. We could take down a lot of carbs from this carb source. But as it stands, just plain one single ingredient, your tendency to overconsume this is much less. People will oftentimes talk about having a good relationship with food. I've watched people over the years and there's all different ways to diet. And again, whatever works for a person, I think that's great. You can get from point A to point B a number of different ways. A lot of people like the concept of flexible dieting, right? Where they have a set number of macronutrients that they need to consume each day. And they're pretty much free to fulfill that any way they deem reasonable. What I oftentimes see happening in groups of people like that is they will kind of like starve themselves all day and like be really, really strict and then like eat a bunch of processed crap like later in the day. Now, again, if that's going to get you from point A to point B, right, we do have to acknowledge the fact that calories in versus calories out, right, is ultimately extremely important. And also, right, if it fulfills your macros. I mean, from my point of view, I don't think that is the healthiest relationship with food. As time has gone on, guess what? This potato tastes good to me. Okay, I can eat a piece of chicken plain and it tastes fine. Okay, I don't need to take all the food that I consume and bastardize it and essentially try to transform it into something else just to make it palatable so I can consume it. I think if you need to do that with the food that you eat on a daily basis, I kind of think there's something wrong there. All right. I think that at some point we should be constructing our diets of food that we find agreeable, not only because they're going to help us to accomplish our goals, but because at the very least they're tolerable. We don't have to impart some kind of wizardry just so that we can consume them. I personally, I don't think that's good. For a lot of people, they don't count calories. They don't count macros. I'm talking at the very beginning. For a lot of you out there, if you're watching this and you don't know where to start, or if there's someone close to you, it could be a family member, could be a friend, they don't know where to start. And maybe you found yourself frustrated, okay, trying to put them on a strict diet, give them all these rules and these guidelines. If you give them just that one guideline, you say, listen, man, I don't want you to count calories. I don't want you to consider your macronutrients. I just literally want you to begin by going to the grocery store, finding foods that you like. The only rule being they have to be one ingredient. They contain one ingredient, okay? And personally, I feel that a person's tendency to overconsume on these foods is greatly reduced when they eat them in a single ingredient fashion. Because once again, they are just not hyper palatable. I think a lot of times when you start preparing foods in a way that it becomes so flavorful, food almost becomes like a drug. This hyper palatable stuff that almost kind of like, maybe, is it like pornography for your mouth? Maybe. They say porn is bad for your brain, okay, that it sets all these unrealistic expectations and then people end up having their sex lives ruined. Maybe we could make an argument, okay, that when it comes to food, consuming all these synthetic artificial ingredients makes food so hyper palatable, it makes it very difficult to become satisfied just consuming something like this. There's people I know, they can't even just drink water plain without having to add some kind of flavoring to it. Personally, I don't think that's good. Being able to consume single ingredient foods. Once you do that, you're eating all whole foods, you've cut out a lot of garbage. I bet you just by doing that one thing, you already see a dramatic increase in energy, an improvement in the way that you feel, and you see it reflected in your body composition as well. Once you get there, sure, start talking macros. You guys watching this, maybe you're far more advanced, okay? But I still would be willing to bet that a lot of you on a daily basis, you consume a lot of junk. If you're someone who's trying to consume a ton of calories because you're a hard gainer, you're trying to put on size, then guess what? In instances like that, stuff like this could be really, really helpful because you can consume more calories than you would be able to by eating bland single ingredient foods. So if you're trying to gain as much size as possible, taking in calories is really difficult, I think you could then make an argument. Maybe you're eating so much that it's like, I can't possibly take in anymore. So in that case, sure. Not only does this approach make it a very, very simple, okay, an easy way to start, but it's gonna kind of simplify just the whole process on a daily basis. Even when you go grocery shopping, you know how much easier it is when you don't have to go down every aisle to buy all these food products? Okay, you're gonna go around the store, you're gonna hit the produce section, right? There's gonna be fruits, vegetables, maybe some root veggies. You can hit maybe the meat department, seafood department. But really for me, eggs, rice, potato, chicken, fish, bunch of different veggies, some fruits, and that's it. I'm at the point where I eat so plainly, and again, I'm not saying you have to do this, but I'm telling you some of the ways that it's benefited me. I eat so plainly that if I have an apple, wow, it tastes amazing. It's like having dessert. So I posted this concept and one person commented that that's an eating disorder. I don't think it's an eating disorder. I think if you fail to find satisfaction with eating plain natural foods, and you have to resort to food products and food that's been bastardized and chemically enhanced and flavored with artificial flavors and sweeteners, I think that's a disorder. So I guess make of that what you will, but that's my take on it. If you're somebody who's trying to gain size at all costs, you're trying to do whatever you can to cram in calories, sure, man, go eat some fast food. And throw down a triple burger from a fast food joint. I've been there. If that's what it takes to get in the calories, sure. But that's not most people, at least the people that come to me for diet help. And that's not the majority of people who are trying to look and feel their best. For those people, making single ingredient foods the foundation of their diet, gonna go a long way. I know it doesn't sound like much, but if you really think about it and you put it in motion, it'll help. Thank you for watching. Check out the rest of the vids in this series. Until next time, I'll see you.